what are my businesses?
Yeah.
When I first started out eliminating my debt is when I really started to get serious about side hustling.
Nice.
And we didn't call it side hustling at the time.
Yeah.
It was like, I have this side thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
My friends are like, why are you working outside of your 60-hour-a-week job? And I'm like, because I have debt.
Right.
And also because I know, like, there's so much power in having a side hustle or having just one extra stream of income.
Sure.
Because not only are there tax benefits in having a home-based business, but for me, it gave me something that I felt like would be there for me no matter what, whether I got laid off from a job or didn't want to have a job anymore.
Right.
But I wanted also to feel like there was no ceiling in what I could earn. And that's really what drives me as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And so when I say that you can fast track to wealth, you absolutely can. And that's what I've learned building an online business is that there are just systems and you start to learn from the best and work with coaches. And I have business coaches and I have a speaking coach.
Nice.
I'm a huge believer in coaching because if I had a coach back in my 20s when I thank goodness, decided to look at what was going on and fix the problem, I'd probably be, lightning years ahead of where I am. But it's okay. We are where we are. And so I would say that when it comes to side hustling or starting a business, it's one of the best things that you can do for your personal finances, but not everybody wants to do that.
Sure.
So whatever it is that you choose to do, it's got to be a labor of love. And I always start with, what are your personal interests, what are your unique skills, and what are your current resources? Because all three of those things are going to factor into the longevity of whatever additional income source you're creating for yourself. Because, you don't want to start something and then quit. Like, nobody wants to do that. You want to have all the information up front. So when I first started out, I had a corporate job.
Sure.
And I started decreasing my expenses. I had all of this debt and I thought, okay, well, what's another way that I can make money? So I started working with an MLM, a multi-level marketing company, Arbonne. And it was such a great experience for me to learn how to build a business at the time. And I think I was making like, I don't know, $200 to $300 a month when I first started.
Okay.
And, that was fine. I was paying for my car. And then in 2009, I got laid off from my job. And I thought, man, like, what am I going to fall back on? I'm in debt and, I need this money. And so I decided to really plug into the system because most of these multi-level marketing companies, like, there are really good ones and there are some that aren't so good. And if you're going to do it, great. Sure. But know that your company is going to be there and know that they have a turnkey system and that it's a really good company. And fortunately, I was with a really good company.
Nice.
So I went to my upline. They said, this is what you need to do. I plugged into the system. I replaced my full-time income with a 10-hour-a-week business.
Wow.
That cost me $100 to start.
Wow.
Yeah. And I still get checks today from
side hustling.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So that's how it started. And then I thought, okay, this is really fun, but I want to do more. I want to be back in the business world. And so I started consulting with startups, doing some financial statements. And one of those was I worked for a guy who founded Pharmaca, which is an international compounding pharmacy. And he has built businesses all over the world. And so he would always come in and help people get their finances together to start these businesses in Israel and, in Mexico and just all over. And he also was a numbers guy. So I learned a lot from him. He was in his 70s and he actually was in a band in like the 1950s or 60s called Barry and the Deans. I mean, this guy was successful from day one. And he would run every single day. And so he sort of took me under his wing and mentored me. And one of the things that I learned from him is that most businesses will be negative for the first couple of years before they start to be profitable. And that's why most side hustles and small businesses fail is because they don't account for the fact that it does take some startup capital to get going. So yes, you can start an online business, you can start an MLM for not very much capital, and that's the way that I would recommend anyone who works a full-time job, is living paycheck to paycheck, and just wants, you've already decreased your expenses, but it's like, what's next?
Okay.
Find something that you really love to do and work towards monetizing it without a lot of startup capital. And I know, and I've seen it, you can build a business 2 hours a week, 5 hours a week, that could ultimately lead to really big money.